This is the Professor, CBMD PhD, and today is Friday, August 7th, 2026. It is 5:01 and 11 seconds, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today's research, vitamin C. So let's hop to it here. Vitamin C might fight cancer, but not the way scientists once thought. Date August 7th, 2026. Source, The Conversation. Linus Pauling was widely mocked for claiming that vitamin C could fight cancer, especially after trials using vitamin C pills showed no benefit. Researchers now know that intravenous vitamin C reaches vastly higher concentrations and can behave more like an experimental cancer drug than an ordinary supplement. Earlier studies suggest it may damage vulnerable cancer cells, reduce treatment side effects, and possibly improve outcomes for some patients. Linus Pauling was one of the most brilliant scientists of the 20th century. He won 2 Nobel Prizes and transformed our understanding of chemical bonds and the structure of proteins. Late in his career, though, he became famous for something very different, a passionate belief that very high doses of vitamin C could help people with cancer. Many doctors scoffed when Pauling himself later died of cancer, aged 93. He was held up as a classical case of the halo effect. Being a genius in one field doesn't guarantee wisdom in another. Half a century on, the story looks more complicated. Pauling was wrong in important ways, but he was not entirely wrong. Modern research is giving vitamin C a second look in cancer, and it turns out that under certain conditions it can behave less like a gentle vitamin and more like a drug. Pauling's vitamin C story began in the 1970s when he teamed up with researchers and gave patients with advanced, incurable cancer very large amounts of vitamin C, first as a drip into a vein, then as tablets. Compared with similar patients who did not get vitamin C, they reported that the vitamin-treated group lived longer and felt better. For some, they suggested survival could be several times longer. 2 large trials run by the Mayo Clinic, a leading non-profit medical center in the U.S., then put this to the test. The results were clear. There was no benefit. Patients who took vitamin C pills lived no longer than those who didn't. For most oncologists, that was the end of the matter. Vitamin C was filed away with other alternative remedies, and Pauling's late career crusade was widely seen as a sad mistake. What neither trial's critics nor defenders noticed at the time, Pauling and Cameron had started with vitamin C into a vein. The Mayo Clinic trials used tablets only. That matters because the gut can only absorb so much vitamin C. Once you reach a modest daily dose, the body simply stops taking in much more. Swallow as many tablets as you'd like, and the level of vitamin C in your blood levels off. By contrast, a drip into a vein can raise blood levels to tens or even hundreds of times higher than tablets ever could. At those extreme levels, vitamin C starts to behave differently inside the body. At everyday levels, vitamin C acts as an antioxidant. It mops up harmful molecules and protects our cells. At very high levels, especially around tumors, it can flip roles. In laboratory studies, high-dose vitamin C helps generate hydrogen peroxide, a reactive substance that can damage cells. Cancer cells seem especially vulnerable because they are already under stress. They grow rapidly, often in areas with poor blood supply, and produce lots of reactive molecules of their own. Their internal cleanup systems are stretched thin. Add a sudden pulse of hydrogen peroxide, and many cancer cells tip over the edge. Their DNA and energy machinery are damaged, and they die. Normal cells, which are under less strain and have better defenses, are more likely to survive. In this way, very high doses of vitamin C behaved less like a daily supplement and more like a weak selective chemotherapy drug. Crucially, the doses needed for this effect cannot be reached with tablets. In people, the evidence is still early and mixed. Small trials have given high-dose vitamin C through a vein to patients with hard-to-treat cancers such as ovarian, pancreatic, or brain tumors. So far, many patients can receive large doses several times a week without serious side effects. Problems can occur, especially in people with poor kidney function or rare inherited conditions, which is why This is not a harmless wellness strip to be sold on the high street. A few studies suggest that adding vitamin C infusions to chemotherapy might help some patients live a little longer or help with side effects, but other studies show no clear benefit. The trials are small and varied, so we cannot draw firm conclusions. One consistent signal is quality of life. Patients given vitamin C alongside chemotherapy often report less fatigue, less pain, and fewer side effects, such as nausea. For someone with advanced cancer, that matters, even if it is not the sweeping cure calling one's promise. Laboratory work also hints at cellular roles. Vitamin C is involved in enzymes that influence how our DNA is marked and read, and in how cells divide and respond to low oxygen, important in cancer behavior. In some experiments, high vitamin C levels make cancer cells grow less aggressively and make them more sensitive to treatment. There are even early suggestions that vitamin C may help the immune system recognize and attack tumors, though this remains speculated. So, was Pauling right after all? The fairest answer is that he was partly right, for reasons he did not fully understand, and he exaggerated the promise. He was wrong to promote vitamin C tablets as a powerful cure for cancer. Large, careful trials have not found that swallowing high-dose vitamin C helps people with established cancer live longer. He was also wrong to present vitamin C as a near-universal remedy for many illnesses. But he was not entirely wrong to suspect that vitamin C might have a special role in cancer treatment. He sensed long before he could prove it that very high doses given into a vein would behave quite differently from ordinary supplements. Modern research has confirmed that intravenous vitamin C reaches much higher levels in the blood and has distinct biological effects. What we do not yet have are large, definitive randomized trials showing that high-dose intravenous vitamin C clearly prolongs life for most cancer patients. Until we do, it should be seen as experimental, promising enough to study, but not proven enough to replace standard therapies. Any use belongs in clinical trials or in carefully supervised medical settings, not in clinics selling expensive immune boosts. The vitamins and cancer story continues to evolve. If the story of vitamin C and cancer teaches us anything, it is that science rarely moves in straight lines. A bold idea, some flawed early studies, a fierce backlash, and then, years later, a quieter, more careful return to the question. Pauling may never be fully vindicated, but neither was he simply deluded. In his enthusiasm, he may have glimpsed a silver of truth long before the rest of us knew how to look for it. And this videography was created for educational purposes only. My code name is Will. I'm Professor Christopher Brunet, leader of research scientist, ufologist, psychic, computer technician, computer programmer, philanthropist, writer, mathematician, artist, photographer, film producer, chef, animal, and nature lover. My passion is world peace. Have a great day. This is the Professor, CBMG, PhD, and today's Friday, August